In this video, I'm going to outline the exact steps you need to follow in order to manage a UK investment in property whilst living as an expat overseas. I'll go through how you can avoid nightmare tenants that cause damage, cost you money in bills, and how you can find a managing agent that'll work for you and take the hassle of managing a property off your plate. Who am I? Over the past 5 years, I've built up a UK property portfolio and an international property portfolio, all the way from flats to HMOs in the UK. I have all of that managed by other people, so I don't need to do it. And my aim is to retire in 8 years' time on the income from those properties. So how do you do it and what are the steps? There are two crucial elements broken down into a number of different steps. The first element happens before you put tenants in, before you purchase the property, and the second happens after you've purchased a property. The first point then is about buying well. In my opinion and in my experience, the best way to avoid bad quality tenants is to buy well. What do I mean by that? I think a good way to explain that is a story or a quote from an artist from the 1800s called John Ruskin. He says, "It is unwise to pay too much for something, but it is far worse to pay too little." Because if the thing that you pay too much for doesn't quite fulfill your needs or what you want it to do, all you've lost is a little bit of money because you paid too much. If you pay too little for something, he says the potential outcome is far worse, because you could pay too little, you could get a product that doesn't do the job at all, that breaks, and then you don't have what you originally bought, plus you're out of pocket for all of that money, not just the little if you pay extra. And the same I've found is true with property. It's much better and far wiser to pay a bit more and get something that is high quality in a good quality location, because you get what you pay for ultimately. Now, when it comes to tenants, what you do when you buy a property that is of high quality, slightly more expensive, in a better location, more central, is that you actually price out bad quality tenants. Now, you can have two one-bed flats as an example. One of them is £200,000, say, and that's right in a city centre or a town centre, next to the main white-collar employers, next to the transport links, all of that sort of stuff, for £1,000 a month you rent it out for. And then 5 minutes away, you can have another one-bed flat that is far older, that's priced at 150,000, where the rental income is £700. Now, which one of those is going to attract a higher quality of tenant? Probably the previous example, that's closer to the amenities, that's newer, that's better quality. So therefore, before you even get to managing a property or nightmare tenants, you are starting to eliminate that by pricing out and taking away those tenants that could potentially damage the property or lead to problems further down the line. This leads into the second element of this section, which would be, don't get sucked into chasing super high yields. Very high yields are usually a result of a lower value property. It's much easier to get a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13% yield on a property that's valued at 60 or 70,000 quid. But why is a property valued at 60 to 70,000 quid? And yes, this is a generalization, but normally lower value properties that have super high yields are in lower socioeconomic areas where the property fundamentals, think pie, population, infrastructure and employment, are not as strong as they are in more expensive locations. What does that mean? Potentially lower quality employers, potentially worse transport, lower salaries for the people that are employed there, potentially higher unemployment. Again, a generalization, but a poorer quality of tenant that may be more inclined to not pay or to damage. So don't chase super high yields. Buy good quality properties with a decent yield that will attract decent tenants. So the first part of this is buying well. Now we'll have a look at how you can actually manage it with a professional agent once you've bought it. Step 2 then is finding an expat friendly managing agent that can manage all of this for you and make it hands off, so that you're not getting calls at 2 a.m. in the morning from a tenant or from a managing agent because they don't know you're overseas. And in case of one of my properties, because the screw that screws in the thing that holds the toilet paper, whatever that is called, and the toilet paper had come off, and the tenant wanted to call out someone that had a call out charge and fee to put a screw in the middle of the night. That was that cool. So how do you avoid that? You need to work with a managing agent. So where do you start if you were doing this? If you want more information or a full breakdown on finding good quality managing agents and why they're so important, drop your details in the link below and download a copy of our book, which covers all of that sort of stuff. But if you're doing it yourself, then jump onto Google, and if you're looking in Liverpool, say, type in managing agents Liverpool. And then you can start creating a short list of ones that look half decent. Alongside that, you want to be checking the reviews. So go on Google Reviews and Trustpilot. Now, it's important here to filter the reviews, because you'll have different types of reviews. You'll have reviews of people selling homes. You'll have reviews of tenants who are in properties managed by these people. But what you want to look for are reviews from landlords and people working with them for their managing services. Because on one side, you might get a negative review from a tenant because there was a job that took a week to do, but that may be because they were waiting for the landlord to answer a question about whether it should be done. So ignore the reviews that don't relate to actually managing of properties. That'll give you a good indication of which agents are good and which are not. Second stage would be, in my opinion, to always try and work with local long-term agents. Why? Fingers on the pulse. They've been there a long time. They know what the market wants. They know what people are looking for. They know what things will rent at. You know, it's very easy if you've got 10, 20, 30 years experience to look at something and go, yeah, that's what it'll get. This is what it needs. This is the type of tenant that will live there. Well, I know there's this big office down the road here. A lot of their people are already renting in here, so that's a good thing to buy. Local knowledge. Thirdly, I would give them a call and see what are they like. Are they friendly? Are they helpful? Ask them a few questions. Have they worked with expats before? Oh, well, expats were expats. Then, you know, that's a bad sign. Expats, yeah, we've got heaps of expat clients. Great, good sign, because they won't be bothering you in the middle of the night. Step 4 would be to negotiate with them. Of course you can negotiate with them. Say to them, look, I'm planning on buying a couple of properties or building up a portfolio in this area. You know, I know your standard rate is 11%, but would you do 7%? And they'll probably say, no, not 7%, but we can do 8 or 9, or we'll do 10. And then when you get your next one, we'll go to 9 and then 8. So make sure you negotiate with managing agents. And more often than not, they will bring the price down. Don't take the piss with it. It is a working relationship. You don't want to piss them off. So do it respectfully and just say, look, this is my plan. Are you willing to support me? I'll stick with you if so. And fifth and final step is, once you found your managing agent, you've negotiated with them to get a price you're happy paying, and you've got them on board to look after your properties, I would set some boundaries with them. So for example, with mine, I say to them, any bills or anything that needs doing from the tenant side that is 250 quid or less, you don't even call me, you just do it, and then you take it out of the rental income each month you owe me. Anything over 250 quid or anything that needs a bit more work, give me an email, I'll come back to you and we can decide on whether or not we're to do it, and if we do it, how we're going to do it. This way I'm not getting calls at unexpected times. They can leave me to crack on with my life, and they can get on with their jobs, looking after the tenant and making sure the property is rented out. A lot of expats I know that I speak to think they would like to manage properties themselves because they're going to save a bit of money on the management fee. But trust me, being overseas, working a full-time job, living the life over here, you do not want to be managing a property. It's hard work and hassle and will take away from your peace of mind. So what do? You buy well to make sure you're going to attract the right quality of tenant. Don't go chasing super high yields. And then secondly, do some research to find a good quality local agent that knows the market, that you can negotiate with and set some boundaries with, and then you are off to the races. For any more tips on building a property portfolio as an expat overseas, drop a comment below on what you would like to see, and I will endeavour to make a video on it. Cheers.